Lydia, I just texted Aaron Ladd. Wish him some good luck. Big one.
It's live, Sam. It's on Twitter.
We live us talking right now.
I think so.
Hey there, my name is Cole Adams, and you are watching the best college
Good luck,
basketball
Aaron Ladd.
podcast out
Now
there.
everyone knows
that
I wish
covers
Aaron
the
Ladd a good
entire
luck.
sport of college basketball, rackets,
birthday.
bubbles, and bid stealers. Now here are your hosts, Sam Fetterman and Jonathan Lidskin.
Oh, hold on.
Season whatever this is, episode whatever this is
It's still
of
a test.
Rackets,
It's
Bubbles, and
season
Bid
7.
Stealers. I am Sam Fetterman. That is Jonathan Lidskin. That is Harrison Vapnek. We are previewing the college football season today. Jonathan, how are you doing?
I'm great. We're coming off the high of a LCU win last night, and big day of Missouri high school football tonight too.
Previewing the college football season, I was told this was an early Big Sky basketball preview podcast. Way too early Big Sky power rankings.
Dude, we've been waiting on Patelis for those for years.
Who's your early Big Sky player of the year? Just throw a name out there.
Sam, go.
I gotta think of who's still in the Big Sky right now. Oh, Northern Colorado got Langston Reynolds back.
Oh yeah, no, that's right. I did see that.
It's got to be him.
I'll go. Yeah, maybe Corin Johnson, Portland State.
I was thinking about him.
Yeah, for sure.
The intro music might have just been playing through all of that.
Dude.
Should we start over?
No. I think we could do this. Let's talk college football. Let's talk college football, guys. We've got a lot of stuff to get into. Where should we start? And I think the place to start is Indiana, the team that won the national championship last year. The biggest story coming out of that, obviously, being just the enormity of the situation, how Indiana came from being a terrible program for so many years to winning the national championship. What does the Indiana Hoosiers follow-up look like?
I'm gonna take a line from this podcast. There's no reasonable doubt that Kurt Signetti is the best coach in college football. We can't do anything. We cannot doubt him. We cannot question his ability to coach and doubt Indiana just because of what he's done in the last 2 years. Indiana football was a total joke for not just my entire lifetime, but any of our parents and grandparents' entire lifetime. The program was just nothing. And then he shows up, they win 10 games, they make the playoff, and then last year, undefeated season. Fernando Mendoza has one of the best, seasons of any quarterback in college football for the last 10 years. They beat Miami in the national championship, and they return a lot of good players, and the players they lost, they replaced very well. Josh Hoover, the quarterback who led RPOs at TCU, is now going to run a very similar offense with Indiana. I feel like he's going to succeed just because he's going to be with Indiana. Nick Marsh, they bring in Charlie Becker, who was a great receiver on that championship team last year. And probably the most quiet part is they returned basically their entire coaching staff and both their coordinators. So it'll be easy to assume that their defense will be just as, maybe not, I don't know about just as good, but maybe near that same level. That'll give Indiana a chance to be in the short list of teams that can win the national title this year.
Yeah, I think it's probably tough to say that they'll be as good or or better than last year. That team last year, at least in the playoffs, was all but flawless. They don't make mistakes, and I think the one thing that you're banking on if you're considering Indiana a national championship level team is that Josh Hoover won't make quite as many mistakes as he did last year at TCU. He was very turnover prone, through 14 interceptions. But I think they've done a pretty nice job replacing the big pieces from last year that they lost on the title team. I'm really excited to watch that receiver core. Harrison mentioned Charlie Becker coming back. Nick Marsh, I think, is a really good player too. Defense, I think I have more questions than offense. Their offensive line is going to be among the best in the country. But I think that changes if they eventually do have Stephen Daly and Kellen Wyatt available. Those were two big-time defensive linemen for them last year. Secondary, I obviously don't think will be quite as good. I think they should still be solid on the line of scrimmage even without those two guys. But I think that they're among the 5 best teams in the sport, and it's hard to kill a team that really doesn't ever make mistakes.
And if we're going to talk about the Hoosiers, I think we should talk about the rest of the Big Ten, which has become the dominant conference in terms of winning national championships in college football. 3 different programs winning each of the last 3 national championships, Michigan, Ohio State, and now with Indiana. Are you guys all in on Ohio State, Oregon? There's a bunch of new coaches to keep an eye on in the Big Ten. Kind of general Big Ten thoughts, and if you can go into a team, I like to hear some thoughts as well.
I'll start with Oregon, who are they the championship co-favorites? They're either second or third best odds to win the title. And I know they're a very popular national championship pick. They have a great roster, great coaching staff. They do lose both coordinators, which is always, catches my attention, but they hired internally. So we'll see. My thing with Oregon is like, this might be the most talented like Dan Lanning Oregon roster yet. Probably is. But I still like don't entirely like trust it. I still like, and it's not that I don't trust like the staff, but like the way they've lost games the last 3 years in the playoffs. Honestly, I was like kind of like making like a joke. Like I was like talking about Oregon like on my hike recently in Colorado, but then like when I was like talking about it, it made sense. Like the last 3 years games they've lost to the teams in their own conference, Washington, Ohio State, and last year Indiana, maybe except for one of them, they had by far the better team in those games, and they lost anyways, and they were like pretty much dominated. So like, why will this year be different? Is it because Dante Moore's back? Is it because their receiver core is loaded with a now healthy Evan Stewart, Darkarian Moore, who I love, Jeremiah McClellan, Iverson Hooks, who is a really good transfer coming over from UAB, and then also maybe the best tight end in the country in Jamari Johnson. Totally stacked on the defensive line. But like there's still just something that I just pause with because of just the way they've gone out the last 3 years. And I'm not a person to believe just because they've lost the big games over the last couple of years doesn't mean they can't eventually win one. It's nowhere close to the truth. But it's just like the way they keep going out to teams in their own league and they just like look totally outmatched. Like it doesn't feel like they're as close as people are making them out to be.
Yeah, Sam, we do this, they're a choker until they're not exercise all the time on our regular podcast. I think Oregon's the best team in the country. They're my national championship pick coming into the season. I think Dante Moore is going to be my Heisman pick. I haven't like fully decided on that, but he's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the country to watch on the team that I think is number one. So why wouldn't I pick him? My main concern, like Harrison kind of said, is the coordinator change. Like they lost 2 very good coaches to our 4 programs as head coaches, and I think both of those hires were good. So I think you kind of have this runway at the start of the season for Oregon where you go Boise State, Oklahoma State, and Portland State. Like your roster talent should really overwhelm all 3 of those teams, and then you get to USC. So you kind of got those 3 games to figure out like what you want to do as coordinators. I think their depth is maybe better than anyone else in the sport. And that's kind of where me being really high on them comes from, specifically along the defensive line. I think they're absolutely loaded. I think it might be the best wide receiver core that Lanning has had. Obviously, they return a couple running backs who we know are good. And, you got potentially the number 1 pick, calling the plays on top of that, or, as a signal caller on top of that.
Yeah, I mean,
we can talk Ohio State too.
I think Ohio State is the logical.
Ohio State is the national title favorite, by the way.
I think you look at the fact that they bring back quarterback, running back, receiver, and they are all 3 awesome at their position. Probably the best receiver in college football. If you subscribe to that notion, I know there's a guy in Miami who's pretty good as well. But I mean, just having those 3 guys back and the program pedigree that we know with Ohio State, it's easy to see why they're national title favorites. And the money that they spend on this roster is significant as well.
Well, it helps when you have the best wide receiver in the sport, unquestioned, with Jeremiah Smith. Outside of him, I don't like the receiver room, though. Like, I don't think this is the first time in a long time. They're like, probably since like 2017, 2018 range, they're like, I don't think this is like an A+ wide receiver room for Ohio State, which is so rare because they've just turned out pro after pro. If Jeremiah were to get hurt, I think they'd be like major trouble. And I'm not like he can't project injury. He's a guy who like hasn't missed any time in his college career. But the guys behind him is a true freshman in Chris Henry Jr., who's going to be good eventually. I don't know if he'll be good this year. Brandon Ennis, who's been there like forever, and then it's just like a bunch of other guys. And this rev share portal era, Ohio State's not having 7 deep 5-star wide receivers anymore. So my pause with Ohio State is, and I have Ohio State going to the Big Ten championship game, I think a 10-2 regular season, which considering their schedule is about where the expectation should be. I just wonder about the depth at wide receiver. I like saying a lot. I think Bo Jackson might be like a sleeper for like Doak Walker Award. He could go for like 1,400 yards. Defense would be great. Matt Patricia like really proved me wrong last year. Like fellow Patriot fans like think Matt Patricia is like one of the worst, like the reasons why the Patriots like didn't win another Super Bowl. And I thought he would be a terrible fit at Ohio State. Was pretty good last year. And I have that same pause with Arthur Smith now, who was a failed offensive coordinator in the NFL. Now he's with Ohio State, but they're raving about him. So
very important to note that Matt Patricia was not calling offensive plays for Ohio State last year.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I'm still not over that Eagles Super Bowl and how bad like why was Jordan Richards and Jonathan Badmosey on the field, but that's for a different pod. That's for the Patriots Sicko Pod Wednesday nights at 9. I think Arthur Smith will be good because of what we saw from Patricia last year. And if Sam got better as the year went on last year, and if he keeps up that pace, the schedule is just so hard for them. Like they have to play every good team in the Big Ten: Oregon, Ohio, or they are Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana. They play Michigan obviously at the end of the year, and then non-con. You got to go to Texas. They have a sneaky game at Iowa. It's like there's just a lot of spots for them to slip
USC.
up. And they've taken care of business for the most part for the last several years against those like middle of the pack Big Ten teams. Like they've outside of the Michigan loss at the end of last year, like they haven't really stumbled too much. But the schedule is tough, but the team is very good, and we'll see if these other receivers not named Jeremiah Smith can step up, because I don't think they can win a national championship without that.
So my main concern with Ohio State is I think they're replacing a lot on defense. I think they're going to really need some guys, specifically Kenyatta Jackson, to step up on the defensive line. But obviously, we know the talent is there with this team. They did take some transfers on defense that I like, specifically Terry Moore in the secondary from Duke. I think with the offense, like my only concern, like I'm not as concerned as Harrison about the wide receiver room, because Ohio State seemingly always finds guys that step up, and whether that's Ennis or Chris Henry as a freshman, like we'll wait and see situation to me. But like Julian Sand in 2 of the 3 games they played against good defenses last year was like pretty bad. That's my one concern. And I'm talking about obviously the Texas game at the start of the year, whatever, first start, throw it out the door. But then the Miami game was just a total disaster in the playoff. And like he was okay against Indiana, like they couldn't finish drives and they couldn't really score points, but like that's what Indiana does. Like that's what they do to you. So like I think that there's no doubt that this team's going to be a playoff team despite the difficult schedule. I can't see them going worse than like 10-2, but it is a little concerning that I think if you power rated, the Big Ten, they probably play 5 of the top 6 teams that are not themselves. So that's difficult on its own. And then, plus you got that week 2 game at Texas this year. So, despite all of that, like I still can't see them going worse than 10-2. Like if they lose all 3 to Texas, Indiana, and Oregon, which I suppose is a possibility, I can't see them making the playoff. Unless, the middle tier of the Big Ten is a little better than we expect it to be. I think everyone kind of understands right now that the 3 top teams in the Big Ten are miles ahead of the rest of the league, even if, there are some teams in the middle that I like a little bit.
I like Michigan a bit. I think USC solid. I can easily see them make the playoff. Penn State, I don't think is as good, but they have the schedule.
Yeah.
But there's the top 3. There's a gap. I think one of those teams can make the playoff. I think they can make a run.
Yeah.
4 new coaches in the Big Ten: Kyle Whittingham at Michigan, Pat Fitzgerald at Michigan State, Matt Campbell at Penn State, Bob Chesney at UCLA. Which are you most excited about this year and long term?
Bob Chesney, UCLA. I think I have bet like a ladder on UCLA. UCLA 6 wins, UCLA 7 wins, UCLA 8 wins. I think it was -200. Sorry, is this a gambling podcast? Sorry. So at minus 200 plus 115 plus 250. Like I'm super high on UCLA. I like give me all the Bob Chesney stock there is. Like I don't not because he was at James Madison, that's where Signetti was before, but like everywhere this guy has gone, he has won. And he has a 5-star quarterback. This is the best quarterback he's ever gonna have coached. He brought all the best players from James Madison with him over to Westwood. They have I think a very stacked wide receiver core considering UCLA football. Love their running back in Knight, and defense might be some growing pains, but I think they're going to beat the teams around their level and below their level, and could look up at the end of the year and they have 8-9 wins and maybe in the race for the playoff.
So I'll say Whittingham just because I'm really interested to see him with actual resources. Like Utah, they're not under resourced, but Michigan resources are obviously different than Utah's. I think that Penn State's going to be quite good this year, and part of that is the schedule. Part of that is also, the fact that like Iowa State was pretty good last year, and like that coaching staff, whenever they're in a close game, they seem to find a way to win, and I think that's a huge credit to Matt Campbell. I'm also really in on Chesney at UCLA, and I told Harrison that I'll join him on some playoff stock if they can win at Cal week 1. Fitzgerald's really the only one that I didn't like. The hire. Like I thought giving up on Jonathan Smith that early, despite how wrong Harrison and I were about him was a mistake.
It was a rough take.
And like
I stand by it though.
Fitzgerald did some nice things at Northwestern, but his last couple years there were not great. And he was winning in the Big Ten West there when, they weren't at a resource disadvantage. And not to mention like Wisconsin who was consistently one of the better teams in that division. They always had to draw like, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State on the other side. Like Northwestern didn't always have to play those teams. So I'm interested to see if like, he can sort of revitalize Michigan State in the NIL era because Michigan State does not have a ton of money. But yeah, like I'm not, super high on that. I think Penn State's going to make the playoff. Like I think that it's weird. Like I think in this roster with this schedule last year probably doesn't make the playoff, but like with the SEC going to a 9-game conference schedule, and I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit, I think it opens the door for a 4th Big Ten team to make the playoff, especially a team like Penn State, which 10-2 is, I think, attainable for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Washington is probably worth mentioning as well.
Yeah.
That's your guy, Liddy.
Yeah.
Demon.
I drafted Roebuck, the receiver, for my fantasy team the other day, and I'm really excited about that. I just think that offense is going to be fun.
My only worry with Washington is like they constantly play down to their competition.
Yeah.
Like they were some like didn't they lose to like Wisconsin last year? The leading passer for Wisconsin was their punter, and I think it was a rainy, snowy game, but like you would have thought like Damon Williams had like never stepped outdoors before.
Yeah, they were
so shell shocked. That was Wisconsin that won like 3 games.
They went 8-4 last year, and it was like a pretty ugly 8-4. Like weren't competitive with Ohio State, weren't competitive with Michigan, like really weren't competitive with Oregon.
They were in a 1-possession game with Oregon in the 4th quarter, but like then Oregon just.
I never thought that Oregon was losing.
No, neither did I. As someone who had a lot on Oregon.
Like, I think that like. Maybe like they take a leap because Fish did that at Arizona as well, and like I think he's a pretty good coach, but like I'm just not quite sure about this team right now.
Yeah, and then kind of the rest of the Big Ten. I mean USC again, Jaden Mayaba coming back. Some really good quarterbacks in the Big Ten this year. He's one of them. I mean Iowa, they're Iowa. They're always going to be the exact same thing. And
yeah, that quarterback situation is worrying me a little bit, even though I drafted them in Circus's league.
I think this could be the end of the road for Ferentz. I think this could be just a average 4-year. And then...
USC is really interesting to me because just like if they get the defense figured out, which is obviously a huge if. Like
Joel Klatt was talking about that, and he picked them to make the playoff, and he said he's really bullish on USC, which he is for every year that starts with a 2 now. And I don't know. I like Mayava. I think the receivers have taken a major step back after the guys they had the last couple of years. But like, this is the chance to be a really good defense. But can they beat teams that are on the road, which they have not been able to do at all.
Yeah, if I'm gonna pick you to make the playoff, I shouldn't have to worry about you going to Rutgers and winning
Exactly.
or whatever. I think USC, like, they do have a high ceiling. If some of their freshmen from that class that they brought in like really pop, then I think that's the real difference. But
Yeah.
like, their schedule's not easy.
It's a lot of true freshmen.
They got to play the top three plus Washington and Penn State. So like, and UCLA.
Yeah.
Anyone else in the Big Ten that you want to get into?
I'm kind of high on Maryland, like high meaning like I think they're going to go 7-5, like maybe 8-4. I just really like the quarterback, and I think Loxley's going to save his job this year. Like, I think Malik Washington's going to be an NFL quarterback, so I got to be a little higher on them.
If Luke Fickell had the courage to use Colton Joseph like an actual gadget quarterback, then I would be happy at Wisconsin. But they're probably just going to use him. They're probably just going to put him under center like 50 times a game.
I think the last thing I really want to say about the Big Ten is, like, we all understand that, like, they've closed the gap and like are maybe better
Close
than
the gap.
like maybe
There
better than
might
the
be a
SEC,
new gap.
even especially like at the top and in that like middle tier. But like, I can't like truly emphasize enough how bad the bottom of this league is. Like, Purdue, Michigan State, Rutgers, like
Minnesota.
even like maybe Northwestern. Not Minnesota, I think is fine.
No, I'm
but
just
like
trolling David
that
Campbell.
bottom 3 or 4 is like truly like among the worst like Power 4 teams. Like, and like that's my main issue with talking about the conference right now. It's like,
UCLA was in that boat the last 2 years.
if you have
Every team, and you guys know this from watching like 90 hours of basketball a week. Like, every team is one hire away from like totally changing their fate.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's what I love so much about college sports like nowadays. That it is not an hyperbole to say like you are one season away from like changing the entire course of your school.
I guess we should mention that like Drake Lindsay is like getting NFL hype at Minnesota.
He'll be in the portal in 9 months.
I will see that when I will see it when I believe it when I see it.
More likely he'll be in the portal than be in the draft. That's where I stand on him.
Yeah. Don't tell David.
Moving to the SEC, we've got, obviously, I think the SEC probably a little deeper in terms of the middle and bottom of the league. But the top of the league, there are question marks that come out of. I think Texas has a lot of fans, but I mean, we haven't seen Alabama be Alabama like. Georgia has kind of had some disappointing exits the last couple of years. So there is a little bit of a vacuum in terms of who's going to be the next SEC team to win the national championship. And do you think we see that happen this year?
I want to start with Georgia. The narrative around Georgia is so funny. Now, in the 2 years of the 16-team SEC, they've won the league, and like, but they've had these 2 early playoff exits, and everyone thinks like they're a disaster. Everyone thinks like, oh, like the dynasty is over, and now
Good
like
for Kirby, man, because he was the choker once upon a time.
And like now it's like they're actually winning the league, but now people are going back to thinking they're like not good anymore. And like I think I actually I'm a pretty big Gunnar Stockton fan from like a college perspective. Like he'll be going pro in something other than football, but like I think he's just solely for a college football quarterback. Like he's such a gamer. Like when I watch him play and like just I don't want to sound like Jay Billis, but he plays with such like tenacity. Like he just like the effort, like when he's out there, like he's going all in. And receiving core, I have some questions about. Like, I like the addition of Isaiah Kenyon. I think London Humphreys is solid. Like that defense is still so loaded. Like Raylan Wilson, Ellis Robinson, KJ Bolden. They bring in Jamar Lee Riddle from East Carolina, who was like one of the best G5 like additions in the portal. Stacked on the defensive line. Like I have them in the playoff. I have them in the SEC title game. I think I have them losing the SEC title game to Texas. But like I just find it so funny that like everyone's kind of like forgetting about the team that's won the SEC. What is it, 4 of the last 5 years now?
Jonathan?
I have them winning the SEC for a 3rd straight year. I don't think that they're close to the highest ceiling in the SEC. Like obviously talented, but name me a national title contender, and you'll probably say the other team has a better quarterback than Gunnar Stockton. Like that's my main issue is like we have so many great quarterbacks in sport this year. So many guys that like are getting hype as, first, second round draft picks, like future NFL starters. And, Georgia's, running out Gunnar Stockton, who's not bad, but, he's not an NFL player. They're going to have to do a lot elsewhere on the roster to, kind of make up for his faults if they want to really win a national championship. Like, they're going to have to run the ball well. We think they will. And the defense is going to have to be really elite. And I think it can be. I just, they don't have the depth that, the Georgia teams that won the title had. Like, you're not going out and replacing, an injured defensive lineman with a 5-star like Kirby Smart was 3-4 years ago. So I think that this floor is still extremely high. Like they have NFL players on both sides of the ball, in my opinion. The secondary, I think you can argue, is the best in college football with what they have. I think there are multiple like future Pro Bowlers potentially in that secondary, but I think the offensive ceiling is just too low for me to confidently say that like they can win the national title. Now, like, if you want to talk about national title upside, like Texas certainly has that.
Yeah.
So like
Like
I guess I can start here. This team has, I was talking to a friend about this earlier today. Texas has 4 players that could go in the top 10 of the NFL draft. Gooseby on the offensive line, Cam Coleman, Arch Manning, and Colin Simmons. Like,
yeah,
they're loaded.
That's crazy.
But do we trust Sark is, I think, the number one question and the number one talking point. When we talk about Texas, when anyone talks about Texas this year, has Arch really making the leap? His tape at the end of the year last year was really good. Well, obviously, I think that Ohio State game, week 2, is going to be a huge test. And then they go to Tennessee early too. And then I think that, like, do they have the depth is the other question. Like, I think that offensively, certainly in skill at the skill positions they do. On the lines of scrimmage, I think the top end talent is very good. I don't know how deep they are.
Is it fair to say the week 2 game against Ohio State is the most important game that Steve Sarkisian has been the head coach of Texas for? Outside of maybe the national semifinal against Ohio State. That's a little different. Because if you
most important regular season game.
If you lose that game, you basically have to go 8-1 in conference play to like feel good about making the playoff. Because if you lose 2, and they have one of the hardest conference schedules among any team in the SEC. If you lose to Ohio State for the 3rd straight year, that would be like it's like when are you going to beat these guys? You're on your home field. I think your favorite right now. You have the returning quarterback. You have you're stacked at every position on the roster. And you can't win that game. It's like, I'm not saying they should fire Steve Sarkisian, but it's like they cannot mess up this window. Arch Manning was the number 1 player in the country for his class. They've done nothing but put unbelievable talent all around him at every position. And it's like, it would feel like such a letdown if they went 9-3 and missed the playoff this year. And it's like, okay, what'd you do in the last 4 seasons? 2023, you make the playoff, you lose in semifinal to Washington. You lose 24, you lose semifinal Ohio State. 25, you miss the playoff. 26, you miss the playoff. Like, that cannot happen. Like, they cannot have peaked with that Quinn Ewers and like that like average team that like won the Big 12. This is big, and you said it. There's probably 4 top 10 guys on that team. I think that's pretty insane. I love the receivers. I love the offensive line. Love the defensive line. Love the portal guys like Rasheem Biles. Like I cannot believe they added him to that defense. And the fact they still have Colin Simmons and they still have Jelani McDonald and those guys in the secondary. It's like Justin Cryer, another guy they add from FSU. Like where it all comes down to Sark. And this is I have them winning the SEC and going to the national title game. But like I do not say that with confidence.
If everything, this is like almost silly to say, but like if everything clicks for them, like they could be, a field goal favorite on neutral better than everyone in the sport. Like the top end talent is that high. And like they have what I would say is the best wide receiver group in the sport. They have, maybe the best running back duo in the sport. They may be the number one pick at quarterback. We understand that like the defense is going to be really good. Like it's probably not the strength of their team. You know, let's put it this way: if Texas's defense is better than its offense, there's problems. So I think like I have them making the playoff. Harry, I know you have them. Yeah, I know you're pretty high on them as well. I know people that are picking them to win the national title.
I'm picking Arch for the Heisman. I originally had CJ Carter the Heisman. I switched to Arch in the last 48 hours because like
Notre Dame runs the ball too much.
Yeah, and if how I predict the season will go, like it'll be really hard for them not to give it to Arch.
Yeah.
Before we get into a discussion on the new coaches in the SEC, there's kind of a pack of teams that could be considered the third best team in the SEC after Texas and Georgia, who are in most rankings pretty clearly 1 and 2. Who is your guys' pick for number 3? Is it LSU, Mississippi, A&M, Alabama?
I think Harrison and I are going to disagree on this.
Who's yours?
Oklahoma. Yours is LSU, right?
It's like 3A, 3B with LSU and Oklahoma.
Okay, so like
I have Oklahoma. I have both of them at 10. Like, I'm trying to find my prediction for the one I just tweeted a second ago. I actually think I have Oklahoma a little bit higher, so we might be actually aligned here. Yes, so, I have Oklahoma 9, LSU 10.
Okay, so the margins between like these teams like 3 through 8 in the SEC or 3 through 7, however many teams you want to put on this tier are like razor thin. And I am willing to bet on one team that I think has the highest floor of any of them. That's Oklahoma. We understand their defense is loaded. We understand how good Mateer is with his legs. Like they made the playoff last year and he wasn't healthy in the second half of the year. So like that, I'm willing to bet on them. And then LSU, just like the amount of talent that they've added, like I'm not a big Sam Leavitt guy. I'd actually say I'm more of an anti-Sam Leavitt guy, but like what quarterback with Kiffin has not worked? Like I'm waiting to see it. So I have LSU as my 4th SEC playoff team. Now, here's the problem. I'm like these other teams in this tier, and I'm talking about Alabama and, A&M, Tennessee, Ole Miss, like even, Florida if you want. Some of these teams have made really high upside moves lately. Like if Keelan Russell or Faison Brandon are like really good right away, like that's, a different level that I think Alabama and Tennessee have. Like I almost think I might be underrating Alabama. The 2 teams in this tier that I'm like super low on are Ole Miss and Texas A&M. Like Texas A&M just like worst quarterback of the group, like lost so much talent on defense. And like at receiver too, even though I think they did a decent job replacing it. Ole Miss, like, man, I think like people might hate me if this gets out. I don't think Pete Golding's good. And like I understand we've only watched him coach, 3 games or whatever it is in the playoff. And, the Georgia win was nice. Like, I don't think they played bad against Miami. That was, they were right there. But like, these are not a lot of of Kiffin's guys anymore. And I cannot get the bad taste out of my mouth of Pete Golding ruining what was maybe the 2nd or 3rd best Nick Saban roster of my lifetime in 2022 Alabama. And I understand that like, they lost 2 games and, one of them was on a field goal to win it. The other was on a 2-point conversion in overtime. But like that defense just did not live up to its potential in my opinion. And I can't get that out of my head.
You give a lot there. So I guess I'll go rapid fire through all these middle tier teams.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, I think, is the safest bet of all those teams to be like good, like playoff good, because they have the best defense in college football in my mind. And I trust Mateer and I trust Ben Arbuckle, their offensive coordinator. And I almost made Brett Venables my like national coach of the year pick. Because like I think that like I don't think they're gonna go 12-0, but like I can kind of see a path where they're like the most complete team in college football, and we're looking up in December, and they are the number 1 team in the country.
They're also, real quick, sorry to interrupt. They're also one of the few teams in this tier that I think can go 9-3 and make the playoff because of their schedule.
Yeah, I think they're going to go to Michigan and win
I do too.
in week 2, and I think
Big
that
noon, baby.
fairly confidently. I think that's good. I think they're just like a tier better. So I like Oklahoma a lot. I'd be kind of surprised if they miss the playoff, and if they miss the playoff, it'll be because like Mateer is either hurt or just like wildly inconsistent. LSU, I think we have similar thoughts. I think they could have the best defense, not one of the best defenses in the country. You know how I feel about Blake Baker. I think he's one of the best defensive coordinators in the sport. He's my pick to win the Broyles Award. I think the talent on the defensive side of the ball they have right now is the best that he's ever going to coach in his career. And then Kiffin, you said that like you have concerns about Sam Levitt, but you said like, oh, every Kiffin quarterback works, but like, what if he's like Jackson Dart, where it's just like the highs are really good, but the lows are just like hand in your face. Like, what are you doing? That's where I'm most worried about Levitt, because he was doing that a ton at Arizona State. Like, people remember like the Peach Bowl, the Big 12 championship, the little run they had, but like people forget some of the back-breaking turnovers he had, like once a week. And I'm a little nervous like that guy is going to come out and like cost LSU a game or two. But I like the receivers. They're going to score points. It's just like, can they avoid like costly turnovers? Alabama, I'm very low on. I think I'm like 8-4, 9-3 out of the playoff. I just don't like what is their strength? They are not the best in the league or even like top 3 at literally anything. Running backs like near the bottom. Wide receiver core like Ryan Williams doesn't have a 100-yard game since like the Georgia game, his true freshman year, and the receivers next to him are like not good. Offensive line is fine. Defense, that maybe that is the strength, is that front 7, but I don't have much trust in that team. Ole Miss, you said you don't love Pete Golding. We'll see. I know the players like him a lot, but I wonder how much of that is how Kiffin left them, and like they needed someone to lead the way, and they get the biggest win in school history, beating Georgia, and he's the coach, he's the leader of that. That's like I have them in the playoff, and I'm very interested to see how that goes if it goes south fast. A&M I do not like at all. I think they have one of the worst quarterbacks in the league in Marcel Reed. I actually don't like their coach Mike Elko very much. Replacing an offensive coordinator is never easy.
You don't like Elko?
No.
Oh, interesting.
I thought the way he managed that Miami playoff game was like one of the I don't understand how it is he doesn't get crushed.
They've struggled against top tier talent.
Like Texas has blown them out of the water 2 straight years.
Yeah. So
lastly, Tennessee. I don't know how you can bet on a true freshman quarterback to win in this league. It's just like has never happened.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. There was a couple points you made there that I want to touch on. Alabama, I think like what they need is obviously Keelan Russell to pop and Ryan Williams to have a bounce back year. Sorry, Ryan Coleman Williams. He's not going by. I think Alabama's defense is good, but like the problem that I've had with Alabama over the last couple of years is like since Will Anderson left school, they have not had like a game breaker on defense, and like Saban always seemed to have that when he was there. Is that going to be Yonze Pierre? Like maybe. Like I think I've seen him in some top 10 mocks, but wait and see game for me. I think that with LSU, like one of the concerns I have is they actually have to play a semi-challenging game week 1, and like I'm worried that like Clemson, which is despite all their faults, a program built on like culture and continuity, that this Clemson team is just going to be much more together and prepared in week 1, and it's going to end up costing them even at home. And then like the last thing that you kind of mentioned there was like I'm high on. I like Elko a lot. Like I don't think this team is going to be that good, but like they've really struggled against like teams that are on their talent level in his 2 years. Like,
what's your favorite, Mike, outside of the Notre Dame win, which is like was such a fluky game, and like that's probably the best game of Marcel Reed's career. What's your favorite Mike Elko win outside of the Notre? And like I know it's like, oh yeah, it's easy to say this when you take out the best one, but like outside of that win, what's your favorite Elko win?
Like probably the South Carolina game last year. Just because of the way it went.
They're down 27 points at halftime to a South Carolina team in the Super Bowl.
Beamer was like, putting on like the tough guy act, like going into the locker room. And like in all seriousness, like probably the LSU game, like
The first year.
yeah,
Okay.
like not last year. That LSU team was walking dead at that point.
Dude, that was the most rowdy crowd I've ever like seen, but like for like the reasons like you wouldn't expect. Like rowdy, like I didn't think Brian Kelly was gonna make it out of the stadium alive.
Harry, do you know win totals off the top of your head for A&M or Ole Miss?
A&M is what 7, 8. I think they're both 8.5. I have their FanDuel app here. Not a gambling podcast, by the way.
Yeah, I would. The point is, I think one of those two is going 7-5 or 6-6.
What'd you say? It's Ole Miss 8.5 plus 130 over minus 160 under. A&M 8.5 plus 114 over minus 140 under.
Yeah, I think one of them goes 7-5, possibly 6-6. I also I'm kind of high on this Florida team. Like people forget their talent level is still good, and I think they made a really good hire. I think Philo's like gonna be better than a lot of people think. He understands the system that Buster Faulkner wants to run, and they're gonna run the ball.
They have like really good receivers.
They're also going to run the
3 or 4 wide receiver room in the league. Vernell Brown, Eugene Wilson. There's a third guy I'm blanking on.
Eric Singleton.
Yes, I mean he was the best guy at Georgia Tech last year.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of the better rushing attacks in the league.
Yeah, the next thing I was going to ask you guys was kind of the next tier of teams with the new coaches. You look at Kentucky with Will Stein, Auburn with Alex Golesh, Florida with Summerall, Arkansas with Ryan Silverfield, and then there's obviously Kiffin at LSU and Golding at Mississippi, but we've already discussed those teams. I think that, at least for me, the Auburn and Florida hires were really, really good. I think Stein, there's reason to believe in him, and then Silverfield I didn't like that hire.
Liddy and I have been. Go, Liddy, say everything.
Putting it simply, Florida made a really great hire. Auburn made a really great hire. Kentucky made a really great hire. Arkansas will be making a new hire in 3 years.
I can't overstate how bad the Arkansas hire was. Ryan Silverfield. Memphis has more resources than like any team in that conference, and it's like not even
by
close.
A mile.
Like FedEx is on their jersey, it's on their field. FedEx is one of the richest, obviously one of the richest corporations in the world. They are just toddling money to Memphis football. Not only could they not win the American, Ryan Silverfield couldn't make the conference championship game with all the talent, all the money they had there. And like, who in the right minded Arkansas was like, oh, that's the guy we need to bring in? Memphis beat Arkansas last year. And like, at Memphis, a great prediction by me. And like, that's all it took. First of all, Arkansas football was a joke last year. And like, it just, one of the worst hires. But on the other side of that, Liddy, how long have we been talking about the Auburn coach?
Oh, dude, forever.
Years. Like that first year at South Florida, where they were like 6-6, and then they beat Syracuse in the bowl game by like 1 million points. Like,
okay,
we were like,
to be fair, that Syracuse team was starting a tight end at quarterback.
I was at that game. The fact that South Florida was an underdog, like, it might be the worst line the books have ever put out.
I don't know.
But it's not
Dan
Vitelli. Like, but
Dan
it was
Villari.
like,
I don't know
Villari.
if I've ever seen a football team or a team in any sport that had given up more than that Syracuse team.
If you want to watch like just the most absurd football highlights, go like watch that game.
It was like watching that Bishop Sycamore IMG game, except it was a college football game.
If you took the realignment chat, it's like just go out there and have some fun. Just like drop some plays in the sand and like just see what we can do. That's basically what Syracuse did that night. Like they were trying like reverses, like double passes, and it was just like not working.
I like that this has gotten off the rails.
Like the players who are Auburn now were just like churning up and down the field.
I like that this has gotten off the rails, but like, coming back to like Arkansas and like, this kind of, bottom, middle bottom tier, whatever you want to call it. Yes. The SEC. Like we're sitting here and, we're like what? 32 hours, 31 hours away from Memphis football kicking off their season against UNLV. Like, dude.
Ooh, that sounds like a good game.
Yeah, dude. Memphis's hire was better than the guy they had.
I have Memphis in the playoff. They're my G5 team.
I would have rather Arkansas hired Charles Huff than
If
Ryan.
Arkansas hired Charles Huff, I'd be like very excited about them.
Like I don't understand the hire one bit. Like he was weren't we calling him like American Jason Candle last year?
Yes.
Oh, come on!
It's not just last year. It was like, what, you don't like Jason Candle, Fetterman? Or you like Jason Candle?
I'm a UConn guy.
He's a
Come on.
UConn fan. It's his coach now.
Good luck. I hope you're gonna have some of the most like distressful losses of like your fandom of just like
I don't know. I don't think you realize just how many losses I've watched in the last 15
no.
years.
UConn will be like they're gonna be like 8-4, and you're gonna be like
That's perfect. I don't care. That's perfect.
but it's gonna be 8-4, and it's gonna leave like a sour taste in your mouth. And like that was the entire Jason Candle experience at Toledo.
You will be in some like 14-10 games with the worst teams in the country.
We played we've been doing that. That's essentially what we've been doing.
Okay, so you hired a coach that's gonna keep your program in neutral. Congratulations.
Dude,
Neutral is significantly better than what we were
at least
at.
Mora was funny.
But yeah, like
Candle's a Red Sox fan, so we're in on that.
Oh yeah, we're in. Dirty water.
Will Stein, good hire for Kentucky. Like the comments at media day, I thought were funny because like I think he's right.
Dude, that makes you like him more.
Yeah,
like I like that he's saying that stuff. I don't like the normal coach speak guys. That's what Signetti did. Signetti walked into the gym and it was
Signing
like,
day.
Was it signing?
Oh yeah.
Was it
At assembly when he was like,
was it a
Purdue
basketball game?
sucks.
He was like, Ohio State sucks, Michigan sucks, Purdue sucks, Indiana's coming off like a 2-win season. Like I like that. Will Stein went up there and what did he say? He's like, oh yeah, we're gonna be like in the national championship talk.
Yeah.
Like yes,
I
like
think
what I think is
that's
like
how you get the attention of people.
the quote was like the question was like why like do you think you can win at Kentucky? And like what is he supposed to say to that? Like yeah, like I like is he supposed to say like I don't know? Like he should say yeah, I have confidence in myself. I think I'm good. Like
every program is one season away from changing.
Dude, I think that the Kentucky coach should always be like as outspoken as Will Stein. Like,
well, considering their previous basketball coach was outspoken, but not in the ways you would hope.
Your season starts in like 8 days, and their fans are all fighting with Mizzou fans on Twitter about Mark Mitchell.
Wait, is Mark Mitchell's not playing, right?
Right now, he is not eligible.
That'll change like 3 more times before the season gets off.
But I liked the hire. I think Stein was a really good coordinator. Both he was at UTSA, right? With Summerall and then Oregon obviously last year. Mississippi State.
He won them the Penn State game
and like Camario could win them some games, but the roster's still not good. We can have the Missouri discussion if we want, but like
no interest.
There are going to be some angry people at Paris.
I don't want to waste storage space on my computer on the Missouri conversation.
One thought: their top 25 ranking right now will be their last top 25 ranking of the season. Maybe it'll last a week. I'm not saying they're going to lose to like
to Central Arkansas or whoever they're playing next
Arkansas
week.
Pine Bluff, one of the worst teams in the FCS. Probably, not the worst, but up there. And then Kansas. I'm not saying they're going to lose these games, but like a team will like win in week 1 or week 0 and move up to the top 25, and Mizzou will never get back in.
All right, here's my question.
Last thing, Sam. Last thing. The one I think big question, obviously, surrounding Mizzou this offseason is Ahmad Hardy. It was like one of the bigger SEC storylines outside of like eligibility stuff and whatever the hell else is going on in that league and across the country. Mizzou being like pretty interested in, I'm blanking on his name, but the TJ Harden, the dude from UCLA, who is not going to be playing now because of SEC rules, but Mizzou was like very interested in him. I think that's pretty telling about like what you're getting out of Ahmad Hardy this year.
Absolutely.
My question: how many coaches out of the Big Ten and SEC get fired this year?
Fickle. Purdue should fire Barry Odom. They're just wasting.
They do Purdue football. Just like I say, what I said earlier about every program is 1 year away. Purdue's one of those teams. They need a baby. They need a chaperone. They just need someone to look after the team for 6 months out of the year. Like firing Barry Odom, like what's that gonna do? Like okay, you're just gonna bring in another Barry Odom. Like he can stay. I guess like Fickle maybe because Wisconsin actually has like real aspirations. I could see Ferentz stepping down after this year. He's like 90 years old.
Are you talking about firing or looking for a new coach, Sam?
You could go with that too. You could go
'Cause
with
I
that
think
too.
Ferentz this might be his last year.
No,
Any chance?
someone will in the SEC. I just don't know who.
Beamer.
Yeah, I was gonna say Beamer at South
That's a good
Carolina.
one.
I think.
What are the
I think
chances Ole Miss is just like a total train wreck and like they have to fire Golding after 1 year?
quarterback situation is too
Trinidad's
good for
too
that.
good. Like,
I'd be like a 8 out of 10 surprise.
and the rushing attack's probably too good too.
I feel like it should reflect pretty poorly on Kiffin that like he didn't start Chambliss from week 1 last year,
Dude, he's a Division II guy. Like, I don't know. I don't.
Yeah,
and he was obviously significantly better.
They were
Like-
they were putting like packages in for him like early, like the first couple weeks, like before like Simmons actually got hurt. So clearly, like they kind of trying to like test the waters with him.
All right. Miami is one of the few teams worth talking about in the ACC.
we want to work Notre Dame into this conversation too.
They're not in the
Jonathan,
ACC,
they're
but
actually,
sure,
Jonathan, they're an independent.
They are an independent, but they have
We've already talked. We've already talked about the other independent.
UConn, yeah.
UConn, UConn. All like 15 people at their games will be chanting that.
So, Sam, what are we looking for here? Like, can anyone catch Miami? Because this is Miami's league.
Is Miami a national title contender?
Yeah, easily. They're replacing a lot on defense. I saw a Mizzou fan online say the other day that like Damon Wilson left from Mizzou to go to Miami because his backup was better than him. If that doesn't tell you what you need to know about SEC Twitter, like I can't help you. But yeah, I think they're replacing a lot on defense, specifically on the D line. But that offense should be among the best in the sport.
It's just Bain and Mesidor. The entire secondary's back. The linebackers are back. It's just the two guys who had a ton of sacks who were first round picks.
I mean, the guys that
and they're replaced with another guy who's gonna be a first round pick. I guess Scott is gone, who was like played longer than like Chad Baker Mazzara, but he was
Yeah,
no,
I think Mensa has like some Sam Levitt in him where he makes a few too many weird mistakes, but like that Illinois game last year for Duke was maybe the most infuriating watch of the season, including any Mizzou game in the second half of the year. But like this offense with Shannon Dawson still calling the plays, and I think Mensa's an upgrade from Carson Beck. Like should be among the best in the sport. This wide receiver group is amazing. Offensive line, I think that like their offensive line is still really, really good, despite losing Maui Noah. So I think it's the defensive line, like and the depth of it that is probably the big question mark. But like the question mark is like, oh hey, is Miami's defensive line good enough that like they should be among the title favorites, or like is it good enough where like they can win the title?
I think this is the best Miami team of my lifetime. I've said this probably 3 years in a row, but like this is like loaded.
That's what Mario does.
I've been a huge Darian Mensah fan since when he was at Tulane. I was really high on him early in there. I actually had a friend who was at Tulane who was like, hey, like this guy's going to win the quarterback competition. He's really good. And I was like, okay, we'll see. And I like immediately fell in love with him. And then I liked him at Duke last year. And now that he's on my team, my favorite team, I'm like, this is like a dream come true. Similar to like Texas, like I just like it's like almost a pretty flawless roster. I think this is the best receiving core in the country. Maybe not named Oregon. I think Malachi Tony is my pick to win the Blitnikoff. Cooper Barricade is like the best receiver on Duke last year. And then just like a ton of young guys, freshmen, sophomores that like were highly recruited, 4 or 5 stars that like they're getting their chance. Mark Fletcher's back. He's been the Miami's leading rusher for like 3 years in a row. Every Mario offensive line is very good. And I have like zero concern about the defensive line. Like I think Damon Wilson could like lead the country in sacks this year. I think he's going to pick up right where Ruben Bain left off. I think Marquise Lightfoot is going to pick up right where Akeem Mesidor left off. I love the coaching staff. I trust Mario. He's been better with like game day decisions in the last like couple. Like that was his big knock is like on game day, like like Mario, like that's where. But like I can think of very few from like last year when Miami played 16 games last year. Maybe was it 16 games last year, and like both coordinators are back. The ACC is worse than it's been. The schedule is extremely manageable outside of a road trip to Notre Dame, but like we beat them last year.
That's not going to impact.
They have to play. They have to play us. Like everyone's penciling Notre Dame all easiest schedule in the country. It's like okay.
Yeah, Miami was the better team in that game for like 75%
Yeah,
of it.
we
last
kind of
year.
let them. We had a bad turnover, and
Yeah, it was Miami stuff.
that looked a lot like the 2014. But yeah, I'm very very excited for this Miami season. Um, and I wasn't disappointed by a national championship loss, as crazy as that sounds. Like because I just love where the program is heading, and they've given a lot of. I was at that Cotton Bowl game, and they've given a lot of fun memories over the last 2 years, and I think it's only going to get better.
I feel like getting a team with Carson Beck and Mario Cristobal to the national championship game is one of the most impressive things that happened.
The seeding of national championship games of the last 2 years in the playoff era, it's 8 seed versus 7 seed and 1 seed versus 10 seed. It is just like if you just make the playoff, like anyone's game. That's how I feel right now.
All right. Anybody else in the ACC worth even talking about? Is
I
the
think
guy in
SMU.
Chapel
I
Hill
think
worth
SMU is pretty
mentioning?
good. I like the quarterback at Pitt, Heinschel. I will say that, like, a lot has been talked about, like, how good the Week 0 slate is this year. NC State literally plays like its second most important game of the year tomorrow. Like, outside of Louisville, what game is more important than the Virginia game tomorrow on this schedule? Maybe at FSU?
We've seen these mid-tier ACC teams have like these easy schedules and still like screw it up though. Like, you think Dave Dorn's gonna win all the games he's favored to win, Jonathan?
No, I don't. I don't have NC State making the ACC championship, but I do think that if they win tomorrow, like, within the realm of possibility for sure.
Like, I think
And
there's a lot of like very tricky spots in there as well.
what do you think about James Franklin at Virginia Tech?
I think it'll be good in time.
I'm excited for it. I think that they're a high floor this team this year because that's just because what Franklin does. And like, they have one of the better defensive linemen in the country, Kamari Copeland. So I think they should be decent as long as like Grunkemeier's like serviceable, which in the second half of the season last year, he pretty much was.
There's only one
I have them
quarterback
8 wins.
there's only one quarterback in the ACC though that has a building on campus named after him.
SMU has like I don't even know where they find that money. How much oil? Have they not like
Oil.
like how's there still oil in Texas? Is the oil just get refueled?
SMU is absurd. Like,
I have
Harrison, you have inadvertently stumbled upon one of society's great questions of the next 100 years.
which the oil or SMU?
Just non-renewable energy.
What? So if gas prices are going up, but there's all this oil in Texas, like what? Where? But is all that money go? Is all our gas money going to SMU football?
it's possible.
These are the questions that American.
I mean, Texas
them and Texas
football,
Tech.
too.
Yeah,
but Texas Tech had a gambling quarterback, so they clearly are spending.
Yeah, so then it goes to FanDuel. Our gas money goes to FanDuel.
House always wins.
all free play anyway.
Notre Dame.
This is Harrison. You got to start on this one. This is your number one team.
My national champion. I don't feel. I texted it to JJ Post, and he said he's gonna trade in his national championship ticket and use it on something more productive. just feel like it's time, right? Like Notre Dame football, they've had all these good teams. The team that made the title game in 2012, the team that made the title game in 24. I thought last year's team was really good, but they screwed up the first 2 weeks of the year, and nobody feels bad for them because they were left out for a team that they lost. I think this is a very complete team. Marcus Freeman is one of my favorite coaches in the sport, even though he coaches what's considered a rival team of mine. And I think they have the quarterback, Anais Williams. Jonathan and I watched him in high school. He's a good kid, good player.
Unbelievable player.
And the receiving core is great. Offensive line will be good, and this will have a chance to be one of the best defenses in the country. Depth is a major problem with this team, as it is with most teams. The depth doesn't exist as it did a couple years ago, but I just feel like with the light schedule, I think they're a shoo-in to make the playoff. Like they're an absolute lock to make the playoff. And as I said moments ago, and once you're in, anyone has a chance. I think they're almost certainly in, and That's a staff and a quarterback and a unit I trust a lot against anybody. And again, I just think it's time for them. I think
Yeah,
that
their D line is really old, which I like. Plus like Boubacar Traore is a stud. Linebacking crew very good. That position's deep for them. Like Jalen Sneed's not gonna even start for that group, and he was an important piece to that team last year. And then like you have probably the best corner in the country in Leonard Moore, like who I think should be pretty much everyone's pick to win whatever the dumb award is.
report
Yeah,
dumb
dude, that award became invalid the second Grant Delpit won.
2019.
Yeah, but like a really good secondary, highest upside quarterback that they've had. Like I think the one question is like, the question that everyone always asks about Gonzaga come March Madness time.
That was what I was about to say.
Are they going to be battle tested? Because they play one team that like should actually give them a real scare. Like if Notre Dame is actually a national championship contender, they should handle BYU on the road with ease. Same with, I think, do they play SMU or Louisville? I forget which.
They play Louisville comes to them, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So yeah,
they lost to that Louisville a couple years ago.
Hey, don't forget, Notre Dame plays at Syracuse in the last week of the regular season.
Oh, they play SMU too.
Oh, they get SMU.
No, they don't play Louisville.
All right.
So I think that
will Syracuse be playing a lacrosse quarterback this time around, or is that just a one-year thing?
Angeli.
I mean, Angeli is back. Angeli revenge game.
Angeli bet on that game last year.
You
live bet
need
Syracuse
help.
plus 69.5. And
of course, I remember.
They were down 70-0 and scored a touchdown on the final play of the game to lose 70-7.
I was on the train coming back from some game. I don't know what game.
Mercyhurst.
Oh, St. Peter's UMass Lowell, I believe.
That was a good one.
It actually was. It was a close one. It came down to the final seconds.
I think
like 25 people probably were there.
There were not very many people there.
I think that with Notre Dame, like to talk about the easy schedule is one thing. Like I'm looking at their schedule right now. They're what, a 20.5-point favorite against Wisconsin in week 1 at Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
So like you take that, they have like 9 games that they should be like 3 touchdown favorites or more in. Like Rice, Michigan State, Stanford, Navy, BC, those, and Syracuse, like those all for sure are 3 touchdown favorite games. Like, maybe UNC is a little better. Like this is just, an absolute joke. And like, I think that I like that the Miami game's later in the year because, Notre Dame has gotten off to some really slow starts the last couple of years. Like even the A&M game that they won in week 1 of 2024, that was not like a great game. Like they did
3-3 with 5 minutes left.
Yes. So I like that, you got Wisconsin, which I don't think is like going to be super easy. Like I think, if, like Wisconsin could be better than maybe people think, but then like Rice, Michigan State, Purdue is in like UNC and Stanford. Like you should theoretically sleepwalk into 7-0 before that BYU game.
All right, we don't have a lot of time left, but we do have to talk about the Big 12. Do we?
Not really. I have done like minimal Big 12 prep. Compared to the other leagues.
The league is entirely made up of like variants outside of like one team at the top and like 2 or 3 at the bottom. I think that
this is lightsaber at the Big 12 championship game this year. That league is like a joke.
This is a great league to watch because on any given day, any team can just score 72 points.
This is a great. Did you guys catch what Blank just did?
I can't believe we're saying this about a power conference, but
they are the perfect. The state of the Big 12 right now, outside of Texas Tech, is the great like third screen game where it's like my setup in my apartment. I have 3 TVs, and like it's always like the third TV is like this absurd Big 12 game. It's like who's watching this? And like this is like imagine if like these teams were good. Like I don't know if any of you watched that Utah Kansas State game last year that was like 52-50.
I remember it.
But
Wasn't that like right?
there's like
Wasn't that
two
like
of
right
those a
before a
week,
World
and
Series
it's
game?
always the same teams like trading wins. That's why none of these teams are any good. Like, and I say all this to say that I think Kansas State, even though they've had a ton of injuries, which like it kind of scared me off, but like it's just like who's Texas Tech gonna play in the Big 12 championship?
Yeah, I think Texas Tech has the Georgia problem of like they don't have one of these elite quarterbacks and everyone else does. I think that like if you give them like a Darian Mensa level quarterback, like they're probably
They had one.
they're we you know we can save the like Brendan Sorsby discussion for another time. But I think if you give them like a Darian Mensa level player, they're probably among the best teams in the sport. I think they're still very good. I still think they're going to cruise to maybe 12-0 and a Big 12 championship. But you know what?
I think they'll stumble once.
Like Texas Tech is a 21.8 rating in SP Plus, and BYU is a 14.9 at number 21. Texas Tech is 8. Outside of like those two, like if you go down like from Utah, who's at number 30 and is a 9.8, if you go down like the list, like you are finding like 6 or 7 teams like all within like a point and a half or 2 points of each other in the middle of this.
I don't think they're good enough to run the table though.
Like I didn't think that, but then they got Castellanos because like
he's not gonna start.
No, but you can bank on him starting 2 or 3 games when Will Hammond gets hurt midseason.
Yeah.
Isn't Castellanos trying to play receiver now?
Might have better luck there.
Oh, I hope it's in the slot. No way he's winning outside. I was actually like decently high on Kansas State, and then like their offensive linemen started dropping like flies. So
I still
like
think they're gonna be, I still think they're gonna be good.
All right. My next question. Am I allowed to talk about Oklahoma State?
Go for it.
I like Oklahoma State. I like Oklahoma State. They're going to be very good. I don't know, like they won't win the Big 12 or anything, but they will be one of the most fun teams to watch in college football, and they will win more games than they did last year by a lot.
Your bank account is hoping that they win the Big 12.
Messmaker was arguably the best quarterback in the portal. Like he was never going anywhere else. Like that guy was putting up the absurd numbers at North Texas last.
So I'm like not that concerned about their offense. Like I think like a lot of the questions around them has been like, can Messmaker translate? Like I think he's good, and I think he will be good this year. I think there's going to be some hiccups. A couple games against higher level teams last year that he was not great in, but I think I trust him for the most part. Like my problem with Oklahoma State is more so their defense. Like I think they're going to have to win games scoring 40.
They can do that.
What's your level of like nervous as someone who you think Oregon's going to do very well? Level of nervousness for the Oregon at Oklahoma State early kickoff game in week 2 with the 11 a.m. kick. 3 out of 10.
Oregon's going to turn and hand the ball off to Jordan Davidson and Dyer Hill 40 times and score whenever they want.
Fair. I don't know. I've watched enough college football to like know that like that could be a game that's like a tie game going into the fourth quarter.
Maybe there's a.
I mean, 52-31.
Yeah.
I think Oklahoma State's going to have to be +3 in turnovers to like even be in that game.
And then, all right, that's it for the Big 12.
No one wants to talk about Dion.
No.
I don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about Bachmeier.
The bottom of this, dude. I'd love to see the bottom.
Play my theme music.
I'd love to see the bottom 3 teams in this league play like a conference challenge with the bottom 3 in the Big 10.
No, I want to see the bottom 3 teams in this league like try to play like Texas Tech.
just so we're on the same page. UCF, Kansas, Iowa State, right?
Yes.
And throw Cincy into that combo too.
Cincy's quite bad. Yeah. Well.
Harry, I gotta say something about Cincy after the pod.
Who's the quarterback for that team?
For who?
That team. Ja'Cory Brown? No, the 4 bad teams. If they play Texas Tech, who would start a quarterback for the bad teams?
Oh, Kansas just named Isaiah Marshall the starter yesterday.
Yeah, bro.
Iowa State has.
You know how like on College Football 27 is like quarterback entry? It's like pure runner. It's like you can't overstate that enough. It's like only runner.
Iowa State has Jalen Rayner, who was at Arkansas State. JC French is the QB at Cincinnati, and then I forget, is UCF Alonzo
Curry Brown.
Barnett at JMU?
Him or Ja'Cory Brown, I thought.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It might be Barnett. I think Barnett actually is starting.
They're
It would be Barnett.
All right.
Sorry, this is gone off the rails.
Any teams in the non-power leagues that are interesting? Who is your pick to come out of those leagues?
Memphis. Their quarterback is a very interesting case. In what Marcus Stokes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the most talented quarterbacks in his class. Ran into some
problems.
Went to West Florida or North Florida, broke
West.
like all the Division II records. Now he's at Memphis. He's gonna start. He's quite good, and I like what Memphis has around him. I think he has another year of eligibility after this. Could be one of those guys that's like, oh wait, like now he's the starting quarterback at like Alabama, or like a school like that. Like I think that he gives Memphis the highest ceiling of any of the G5 teams. IMO, in my opinion.
I don't know if they're actually going to be good, but like Texas State is going to be very watchable.
Oh, very watchable. Their skill position players are unbelievable.
Dude, like there's I don't think in our fantasy draft, that's our slow fantasy draft, thanks to Grant Solomon. Dude, there's been like 5 like North or Texas State players. I just took a Texas State player. Like
They're gonna be really fun.
You just have to like get in on the fun.
So my playoff pick like almost like may change like for the G5 like as we wind down the stretch toward the start of the season here. I think that like Memphis is a great pick, and I think they're going to be good, and there probably would be my pick to win the American if I had one. I have Boise State as the playoff team right now, which I know is like so vanilla, but I think they're just more talented than everyone else in the G5 by a pretty significant margin. However, there's a team in the Mountain West who I like a ton, and they just got a much more favorable draw because New Mexico's quarterback is now out for the season. I think Air Force is going to be pretty good, and I think that like their non-con schedule is really soft. Like could win all their non-con games quite easily, and then I think now with the New Mexico thing maybe steered out of the way a little bit. Like it's UNLV on October 17th. You got to go to Laramie, which is never easy, but like Air Force is never really it can't be really affected by the wind in these mountain,
affected by the wind
because they only run the ball. They don't pass. So like I think that like if Air Force is playing a lot of games on their terms, like they could be pretty good.
Can I give a
I really want to see an academy in the playoff one of these days.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I do too.
The Army and Navy were like both really good like 2 years ago, right?
So last year.
Like
it was 2 years. It was 2 years
ago.
No,
with Bryson Daly.
Yes, that was when Navy made the conference championship.
Yeah.
Army was pretty good too. Army beat Navy that year, right?
No. I think Navy beat Army, but Army won the conference.
10-7 every year, like flip a coin who wins.
Like Army smoked somebody in the conference championship game and then like lost to Navy.
Since 2005, the under.
I don't know how these East Coast or like South teams like to go to altitude. I don't know how they do it. I just made my first trip to the mountains. It was like 10 steps. I was in the parking lot. I was out of breath. I don't know how they do it. It's crazy.
All right, Jonathan.
I have a whole new feeling about like teams who go to like Denver for the NFL or teams who like play at Air Force or at those teams. Like, I wonder if that's why Texas Tech lost.
It makes the Patriots win in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, that's a very legitimate win. I have a hot take as a Patriots fan.
The most legitimate win of all time.
Patriots hot take. I have a list on my phone of all my favorite Patriot wins since 2010, which is when I really started first watching the NFL.
Send me this after the pod.
I have the Texans game higher than the
Dude, tough night for the Pioneer League.
All right, Jonathan, you want to take us home?
Yeah, I would love to. If you came to hear about Tyler Self and where he's working, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about Harry, give me something we talked about, like random on this show.
Big Sky.
Big Sky Player of the Year picks. You came to the right place. And if you came to hear about the latest happenings with Caleb Grill, you came to the right place. This has been season 7, another special episode of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bit Stealers, and we'll see you next time.